In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I made these ceramic necklaces. So to start off, I started with a box and a piece of plexiglass and the piece of pottery that I wanted to make into my necklaces. So I'll be using a second piece of pottery that I'm going to smash and I'm going to grind it down into necklaces, and I'm using a box just to contain all the dust. Alright, so I have the protective box. So I'm going to put my arms in here. I'm going to Dremel in inside the box so the dust is contained. But now it's time to smash this thing. This is a second. It's a piece of pottery that dripped all over the kiln. Too much glaze. I think the glaze is really cool down here and on these spots up here. So I'm going to try to hit it with the hammer in a spot that allows me to keep some of the cool glaze. We'll see what happens. I really don't have much control over it, but I'm just going to smack it. See what happens. Alright. So the reason I smashed this piece of pottery is obviously because it dripped all over the kiln. It was a circular base, and I didn't take into account that the glaze was going to drip, and I used a glaze combination that required like 5 coats of glaze. So I decided to smash this and recycle them into necklaces. For this process, it was kind of stressful to smash the pottery just because I didn't know if I was going to be able to make necklaces out of the pieces that I got, because I didn't know how large or small the pieces were going to come out. But I got pretty lucky, and I got some pieces I could work with. I used a Dremel to grind down the edges of the pieces, which you'll see in a second. And if you are going to do this, use a N95 mask. Alright. So I have these 2 pieces. I have the rest over here, but I'm not going to use it yet. I'm just going to see how this goes on the Dremel. But these 2 are like right around the size that I want. This one's a little bit smaller, but we'll see what happens. I'm just going to sand the edges and make them really smooth. Let's see. So I tried the box method to contain the dust. It didn't really work that well. Just a piece of advice, like I said, use an N95 mask. This dust is very harmful to breathe in. You're basically breathing in dust of glass dust, which is not good for you at all. But the box didn't really work to contain all the dust as much as I wanted it to. And I did use the box and an N95 mask. I don't want to hurt myself. But I decided to take it outside instead, just to be ultra safe. So I set up a folding table, and I just went out there with all my pieces. So my plan going into this project, I knew that the pieces were going to look cool, but I didn't know how to make them into a necklace, which I'll talk about my struggles a little bit later. But grinding them down took quite a while, to be honest. Each piece took maybe around 20 minutes if I was lucky. The round piece there, which is my least favorite, took around half an hour to grind down because I had to grind down, and it took so long. So if you have access to a grinding wheel, definitely use it. My old school did have one, so I wish I had thought of this project sooner, because it could grind through ceramic so fast. But my Dremel did the job fine, and it worked. It just took extra long. After I was done grinding down all these pieces, my problem was how was I going to make these pieces into a necklace. I was thinking initially make a hole inside the piece and then the rope just simply goes through it, but then I ran into more struggles on how to make a hole into the ceramic without ruining the bit that was going to be drilling the hole, or all those problems. So I decided to go with wire. So I've seen these resin projects before where they make resin necklaces and they use wire to clamp to the resin cast that the person would make. I've seen videos of that before, and so I decided to use just some silver wire, and I wrapped it around as neat as I could to the piece. And that first one that I just showed, the back was really messy. It's hard to finish the wire in a way that, tie the wire in a way that doesn't mess up the wire and also clings to the piece with strength so that it doesn't fall off while the person's wearing it. So I did get better at that later. But I used some wire, and that took another probably around 2 hours to get the wire on most of these pieces, or on all these pieces. The wire's not too expensive. All in for this project, I think I've only spent $15, and then I also had to buy the necklaces too. Those were pretty cheap. I bought those off Amazon for $8, and I got 50 necklaces. This is just going to be a really cheap item. I'm probably going to sell these necklaces for around $10 to $15 in my booth, my craft fair booth. I am doing a craft fair, if I didn't mention that already. It's my first one. I've never done one before. It's a vendor fair. I'm going to be wheel throwing and in the craft booth selling all the pottery I have, and hopefully selling these necklaces. I also want to make some more too, because I think they're pretty cool looking, and for a cheap item I think it would be pretty cool to sell, and I think people would want them. But I don't know. Let me know if you like them or not. Maybe this is a dumb project. I'm not sure. But just let me know if you would buy one. $15 or $10. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, I like the look of these. If you have a piece of pottery that's a second and you smash it and turn them into necklaces, yeah, I hope this inspired you. It's a way to reuse pottery that otherwise I would have just thrown out, and I think they look pretty cool. And I hope someone would enjoy wearing them. This project was a lot of fun, actually. Just kind of an easy one, not too hard. Just smash it, grind down the edges, make it not sharp, and put them on a necklace with some wire. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and this idea. I hope this inspired you. See you in the next one.